Now we have to create a data foundation layer. This data foundation consists a schema of relevant tables and joins from one or more relational database that are used as a basis for one or more business layers. So as I told you already, data foundation is like a schema of tables and the required joins. So it can be a single source or it can be a multi-source. Single source, these are the some points which will be useful for reference purpose. What is the difference between single source and multi-source? Single source data foundation support a single connection. Here local or secure connections can be used. Publish used universe based on the data foundation either locally or to a repository. So this is about single source. Single source data foundations are recommended for following situations. If you want to work exclusively with database specific SQL syntax, if you want to publish the universe locally or work outside of repository, single source is recommended. It is like if the data is coming from multiple databases, we definitely need to go for multiple source. If the data is coming from only single database, we can use this single source. So that is about single source. Here multi-source, it supports one or more connections, but it supports only secured connections. So if you create a connection CNX and if you don't publish that to a repository, you cannot create a multi-source data foundation. So multi-source, it supports only secured connection. Universes based on this type of data foundation, they should be published to repository. We cannot keep those universes in our local. We should publish that to repository. It supports additional relational connections as SAP NetWeaver BW connection and SAS connection. Multi-source enabled data foundations are required in the following situations. If we want, why do we need multi-source data foundations means if we want to insert tables and joins from more than one relational data source, then we must go for multi-source. If we want to use SAP NetWeaver BW or SAS connections, we need multi-source. If we want to use SQL 92 standard syntax and SAP BusinessObjects SQL functions, then we need to go for multi-source. So this is the difference between single source and multi-source. Sometimes people ask like, what is the difference between single source connection and multi-source data foundation? So this is a clear understanding here. So yeah, these are the steps that we follow to create a data foundation layer. First, we will say like right click under the project and create a new data foundation. So it will ask for our resource name. We will define connection name and connection description. What is the resource name that we want? After that, it will ask which type of data foundation you want to create. Is it a single source or multi-source? Here also, it mentioned like if you are going for single connections, database specific SQL syntax, universes to be published locally or on secured server, single source is recommended. If you are going to create a data foundation on single and multiple connections, if you need additional relational connections like SAP NetWeaver BW, and if your universe is to be published on secure server, then multi-source. So based on our requirement, we will select whether it is a single source or multi-source. After that, it will ask for the system details like a username and password to connect to the data foundation. Here the system username, password, authentication. We mostly use enterprise. There is also some other authentications like Windows AD or SAP authentications will be there. So once we create a data foundation, once we define them, it will ask if we have multiple connections created, then it will ask in under which connection you want to use the data foundation. So if you have multiple, it will ask for this like select the connections to add to the data foundation. So which connection you want to add to the data foundation, we can select the secured connections here. And then we will define a short name. It is not required, it's not mandatory. We will put some name and color. These are not mandatory steps. And And then here comes the data foundation. Like here it shows like how we geographically represent the tables and joins. So we will select the required tables and joins here. So here it will come like if you see here in the universe also we will see options like connection. If you click on connection, it will go to the connections what are all there. Data foundation, it will go to the data foundation layer. Aliases and context, it will come in the next slides like what is alias and what is context. Parameters and list of values, which we have already covered. Like a list of values is like a file which stores the list of values to use for any object for filtering purpose. This is the properties. So here comes the data foundation. Look how it looks in the IDT. So here some country table, these are not visible properly, but these are required table names. And if you see here, each table is joined with other table with a line. So here we will mention on which basis it is getting joined. Mostly we will use the primary ID of each table, like here country ID, and the same country ID should be matched here. So that kind of joins will be there. So in the data foundation, we will insert the tables and we will propose joins, and we will set on which column we are joining and what type of join we are doing. Whether joins also, there are types of joins available like inner join, left join, right join. So I think I also need to explain the types of joins and what is actually it means. So I'll let you know that also. Uh, Connections. Yeah, these are all options available in our data foundation. Insert menu will be there. If you click on insert, it will ask you want to insert a table or you want to insert a derived table. Derived table is like we will write some formulas to if we need some columns from like one column from one table and other column from other table, and if we need to combine those two columns to write some formula, then we will create our derived table there and we will use that derived table in our schema. Insert alias. Alias is like a duplicate of a table with a other name, so that it treats like different table, but the columns and all everything will be the same. If you see here, create alias from existing table. So whatever it stores, whatever the columns, everything will be same, but with a different name. We will use it for our design purpose. In some situations, to avoid loops and context, we will create alias. And these are the things that we can insert in the data foundation: table, derived table, alias. We can insert join, that is join between tables. Insert view, we can also insert a subset of master view, and we can insert comments also. We also have a detect menu in our data foundation. So it will by default uh, automatically detects something like if we are not sure of join, which join to put. If we put detect join, it will the tool will suggest us about by giving some joins. But it is always recommended to go as per our requirement. But sometimes we can use this detect join. And detect cardinalities, we always use this like 1 to n or n to 1. The tool automatically detects it. Detect row count, detect key. If we are not sure of what is the primary key and foreign key of some tables, if we click on detect key, it will suggest us. And refresh structure. If refresh structure is like if you are adding one table to the already existing universe in a data foundation, so we will click on refresh structure so that it will get updated in the universe. Detect alias, this is also like if loop is there in data foundation, it will detect alias if any required. So if loop got formed like a closed loop, uh, table A joined with table B, and table B joined with table C, and table C joined with table A. If a loop closed loop forms in a data foundation, we will not get correct data in our reporting layer. So we might be getting wrong data. So we always need to check for that loops, and we have to avoid that situation. So in that case, alias is useful uh, to so that we will break that loop. We will use one of the table alias and we will segregate the joins, so that we will divert that so that it will not form a closed loop. So in that purpose, the alias will be useful. To insert tables into data foundation, we will do this like this. We will already we have selected our database, right? In our case, it is MS Access. So once we go to the data foundation, as we already connected, if we click on insert tables, we will have this plus symbol in our universe. If you click on, you can insert anything, insert table or insert derived table, insert join, insert view, insert comment. So you can insert anything. So first what we do in data foundation is we will insert tables. So what are all the tables are required, we will check mark them. And in our case, what we needed, we will check and then we will finish. Here only we can put like in the tables we can detect, if we check detect keys, detect row counts, detect joins and detect cardinalities, everything will come automatically by tool. So here the same points mentioned here, like select the checkbox next to the table name to insert it and all its column to the data foundation. Tables that are already inserted into data foundation have an icon with green check mark. If there are already existing tables in the data foundation, it will be checked with green mark. If you insert an existing table, an alias table is inserted and you are prompted to enter a name for the alias. So if you are inserting already existing table, it will ask for a name, different name to create an alias. So here we will insert the tables and these detect keys, detect row counts. These are optional. Based on our requirement, we can select these options. So derived table, as I already told you, to create a table with columns from other tables. If we want to create a table with columns from other tables, then we will use derived table. If you see here, we have to write formulas to create a derived table. Here, insert derived table. If we click on that, it will tool pop-up will come, a window. There they mention like what is the name you want to put that for that derived table and what is the formula. So for this purpose, we need to have some basic understanding of SQL. So here, what they used is select star from catalog. Star means everything. Select everything from catalog. Catalog is a catalog is a table name here. E-fashion is a universe. So select from catalog table. Under catalog table, we need this article color lookup column to be used. So we can write formulas like this here to create a derived table. Don't be overwhelmed with this too much technicality. We don't need for a reporting purpose, but it is always good to understand like what is happening in the backend. That's why I'm going in detail. So if we understand 50%, 60% of that also, it will be good for our reporting. Whenever if you have an issue, if sometimes it is not just creating reports. In our real projects, what happens is sometimes we get some issues like data issues and user come and say like this data is not correct. How are we getting it and all they'll ask. So to analyze that issue and to come up with a solution, we need to have this background knowledge, like where are we getting the objects from? Is it from universe or is it from Bex query? If it is from Bex query, we will need to check with the BW team. Or if it is from universe or if it is from directly from web intelligence. So for that purpose, I am telling in detail. So don't get confused or don't worry about too much of technicality here. It is not like we will use all the options in a universe. No, we will not require to use all the options, but whenever there is a requirement, we might need to know like what is meant for what. Then if a requirement comes, then we can do that. Yeah, here as I told you, the join concept, it is very important. You can joins means we will join one table with other table. Equi joins means these are used to retrieve matching records only. So whatever is the matching from both the tables, they will only be we will be getting output of them only. Out outer join is like a left outer join, right outer join, and full outer join. If we select left outer join, whatever is matching from the right table and everything from the left table will come into the output. So I would like to go like for you both. Can you please Google for these joins, types of joins in database? You can see like what is the inner join, what is the outer join, left outer, right outer. With the examples, you will know. So please spend some 10 to 15 minutes on this topic so that you will understand better, because everything I'll not be able to explain in detail. So you will be having some screenshots and all so that you will understand it better. So these are the types of joins. Inner join or equijoin. Outer join means there are left outer join, right outer join. Full outer join means it will the output will contain total reports like left table and right table. If there is anything missing, we will get that as a blank, but we'll get all the required all the information available in the both the tables. So that is about the joins.